All right, all right, all right. So here we are, ladies and gents. We are going to transition from just simplifying some of our radical problems to actually solving some radical equations. But before we get that far, before we start doing that, we got to have a little interlude. We got to talk about some things we've kind of touched on a little bit, but we're going to talk about them at length here. What happens when I square a square root? So let's walk through that process because this is going to be very important for what's coming down the line. So when I square a square root, what does it mean to square something? Yeah, pretty good. Multiply it by itself. So this means square root of 3 times the square root of 3. So some of you are recognizing this because we've touched on it a couple of times. Some of you are recognizing what's going on. You know the answer. Good, great, grand. I'm talking to the rest of you that are still kind of, aren't quite there yet. We're going to get you there hopefully today. Square root of 3 times the square root of 3. Go ahead. Radical times a radical. Multiply them together. That's the square root of 9. And here's where the cool part happens. Square root of 9. 9's a perfect square. The square root of 9 is 3. It's a whole number. This relationship right here, hopefully, you've caught on to by now. The square root of 9 is 3. So this is 3. What I want you to understand is this times this, when I square a square root, it's going to be that number every time. Right now at number 2, the square root of 10 squared, right now you should know off the top of your head it's 10. You should know that by now. We've done a bunch of these, okay? To walk you through it. Square root of 10 times the square root of 10, because I'm squaring, I'm multiplying it by itself. That's the square root of 100. The square root of 100, again, it's a perfect square. It's on the list on the paper you should have printed like 4 weeks ago. I gave it to you about 6 weeks ago. If you still have that, you should know these numbers. They've been popping up a lot. The square root of 100 is 10. When I square a square root, the number in here is my answer. Now, I'm going to throw you a slight curveball, which is why we're having this conversation today. 4 root 5. Notice, no number in front of the radical, no number in front of the radical, number in front of the radical. Slightly different deal here. So what does this mean? When I say 4 root 5 squared, what does that mean? Well, same thing. 4 root 5 times 4 root 5. Multiply it by itself. Exactly right. Big numbers times big numbers, radicals times radicals. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. But, as we've touched on, the square root of 25 is, yes, 5. Whole number 5. No more radicals. So now I have 16 times 5, which is 80. There's a shortcut trick to these problems. The outside number was 4. What's 4 squared? Very good, 16. If I take the outside number and square it times the inside number, I get the answer. Watch number 4. I'm going to show you the trick and then we'll do the long way to show you. Square the outside number is 9 times the inside number is 7, 63. So my shortcut is telling me 63. If we do it the long way, 3 root 7 times 3 root 7. Here we go. Outsides times outsides, insides times insides. 3 times 3 is 9. Root 7 times root 7 is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. Some of you got that quick. Some of you still working on it. You got to get those perfect squares. 9 times 7, you said it, boy. 63. When you are squaring a number, if it's just a plain radical, the answer will be that number. Square root of 10 squared is 10. Square root of 3 squared is 3. If there's a number outside, notice there's no pluses and minuses here. That's a completely separate conversation. Don't get pluses and minuses all twisted up in your brain, okay? No pluses and minuses. Take this, square it, times the inside number, gives me my answer. Squared times the inside number gives me my answer. Quick and dirty lesson for you today. Get at it. Make sure you're keeping up with those grades, and see you.